I can't wait for the gender reveal tomorrow. My sister chuckled, what? It happened yesterday. My uncle showed me his phone. There were photos of everyone there. My sister shrugged. Guess I forgot to tell you, haha. I left without a word. But they were the ones who regretted it. I had spent weeks planning the perfect event. I called the caterers, booked the venue, picked out decorations. I paid for all of it. And yet, as I stood in the middle of the living room, wine glass in hand, I was the only one who didn't know it had already happened. I can't wait for the gender reveal tomorrow, I said, smiling at my sister, Anna, across the room. She barely glanced at me before laughing. What? It happened yesterday. My grip on the glass tightened. What do you mean it happened yesterday? Before she could answer, my uncle, who had clearly been there, pulled out his phone and turned the screen toward me. A sharp pang hit my chest as I took in the photos. There they were, Anna and her husband, Derek, beaming as they sliced into a cake, revealing soft pink frosting. My parents clapping and laughing. My cousins posing in front of a massive pink balloon. My uncle and aunt holding champagne glasses. Everyone except me. I scanned the pictures, flipping through them faster and faster, searching for even a glimpse of myself. Maybe I was in the background. Maybe I had just missed the call. Maybe? No, I wasn't there. And from the way my sister sipped her drink, unconcerned, I knew this wasn't a mistake. You didn't invite me? My voice came out quieter than I intended. Anna shrugged. Guess I forgot to tell you. Haha. A cold, sharp silence swallowed the air between us. Forgot. I repeated the word, letting it settle in my mind. She forgot to invite the person who funded the entire event. She forgot to tell the one person who made sure she had her dream reveal. Forgot. I let out a soft breath, setting my wine glass down on the table, careful, so careful, not to let it slip from my shaking fingers. I glanced around the room. No one looked uncomfortable. No one intervened. My mother was still chatting with my aunt, my father deep in conversation with my uncle. They all knew. They all knew. And they didn't care. I felt something inside me click into place. A deep, cold understanding. I gave Anna one last look, my lips curving into a tight, almost amused smile. Then I turned, grabbed my coat, and walked out the door. No one stopped me. No one called after me. No one even noticed I was leaving. But they were the ones who would regret it. I didn't drive home right away. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the glowing holiday lights through the windshield. The party inside was still going strong. The people I called family were laughing, drinking, celebrating without me. I took a slow breath, letting the cold air from the vents cool my burning face. Maybe I should have seen this coming. Anna had always been the favorite. The golden child. The one my parents adored, protected, doted on. When we were kids, I had to earn everything, good grades, scholarships, part-time jobs, while Anna got things handed to her just because she existed. If she wanted something, she got it. If I wanted something, I had to prove I deserved it. And I spent my whole life proving myself. I paid my way through college without asking for a cent. I got a job, saved up, became financially stable. But no matter how much I achieved, my parents still saw Anna as more important. Still, I never thought they'd exclude me from something like this. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to my last conversation with Anna. Me, hey, just checking, everything good for the reveal? The venue confirmed for Sunday. Anna, yep, all set. Thanks again, you're the best. A slow, bitter laugh escaped my throat. I had wired the deposit myself, double-checked the reservations, followed up with the caterers. I had made sure she had the perfect event. And she didn't even think I deserved to be there. I clenched my jaw, shoving my phone into my pocket. I should have seen the signs earlier. Anna had been using me for years. It started small, little favors. Borrowing money and forgetting to pay me back. Asking me to cover a bill, just this once. Then it escalated. 2 years ago, when Anna and Derek were planning their wedding, she called me crying because the venue deposit was too expensive. I don't know what to do, she had sobbed. We might have to cancel it. Like an idiot, I transferred her $5,000 that same night. She never paid me back. She never even mentioned it again. After the wedding, it was the baby shower. She wanted it at a high-end venue, but didn't have the budget. Just help me out this once, she had pleaded. I paid. Again. Then, last month, the gender reveal. This is the last time I had told myself. She's pregnant. She's my sister. I'll do this for her, and then I'm done. But now, sitting in my car, staring at those photos of everyone except me, I realized the truth. I was never part of the family. I was just their wallet. And now, I was done. The first consequence. The next morning, I made my decision. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to demand an apology. I wasn't going to beg them to see my worth. I was going to walk away. The first thing I did was call the venue and cancel the final payment. Are you sure? The manager asked. The event has already taken place. I smiled, my voice calm. I'm sure. The second thing I did was block Anna's number. The third thing I did was send a single message to our family group chat. Me. Hope everyone had a great time at the reveal I paid for. Since I wasn't important enough to be invited, I assume I'm also not important enough to continue financially supporting Anna's life. I'm done. Good luck. Then, I muted the chat. I didn't expect a response. But they weren't expecting what came next. The first call came an hour after my message. It was my mother. I let it ring. The second came 5 minutes later. My father. Ignored. Then Anna tried. Then again. And again. By noon, my phone had 17 missed calls. I wasn't surprised. I knew exactly how this would go. At first, they'd act confused. What's wrong? Why are you overreacting? Then, they'd try to guilt me. Family sticks together. You don't just abandon your sister. And when that didn't work, they'd get angry. I sat at my desk, sipping my coffee, watching my phone vibrate. It was almost entertaining. By the afternoon, I got the message I had been waiting for. Anna, what is wrong with you? I smirked and finally unlocked my phone. Me? What do you mean? Anna, you canceled the payment? The venue just called me. They said the deposit didn't go through. Me, oh. Guess I forgot to tell you. Haha. Silence. Then, this isn't funny. Mom and Dad are furious. Fix it now. I leaned back in my chair, tapping my fingers against the desk. Me, no. Anna, you can't just do this. You promised. I let out a soft breath. There it was. Not I'm sorry I excluded you. Not I didn't mean to hurt you. Just you promised. Like I was a contract. An obligation. Me, and you promised we were family. But I guess we both lied. I put my phone down and went back to work. The fallout, the real fireworks started that evening. I was making dinner when there was a loud, frantic knock at my door. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. I opened the door just enough to see Anna standing there, wrapped in her coat, her face red from the cold and from anger. You need to fix this, she hissed, shoving her phone toward me. The venue is demanding the rest of the money, or they're going to report us for fraud. Fraud, Kate. I crossed my arms. Sounds like a you problem. Her mouth fell open. Amy problem? You paid for it. It was your idea. I tilted my head. Funny. Didn't seem like my idea when you forgot to invite me. Anna scoffed, throwing her hands up. Oh my God, are you seriously still mad about that? I just stared at her. You're making this a huge deal, she continued, voice rising. We didn't exclude you, we just forgot. I leaned against the door frame. Then I forgot to pay. Her face twisted with frustration. You're being a child. I smirked. And you're being irresponsible with money. Maybe next time, don't screw over the person funding your life. Anna actually gasped. How dare you? I held up a hand. No. We're done. Find someone else to use. I stepped back, ready to close the door. But then she dropped the act. Her face crumpled, and suddenly, her voice was desperate. Kate, please, she whispered. Derek doesn't know. I hesitated. What? Anna swallowed hard, tears welling up in her eyes. He doesn't know you paid for everything. I stared. Mom and Dad helped a little, but I told him I covered the rest. If he finds out, she sucked in a breath. He'll be furious. He already thinks I spend too much. If he finds out I lied. She didn't finish. I suddenly understood everything. This wasn't just about me cutting her off. This was about Anna being exposed. She had built her marriage on lies, pretending she was financially responsible, when in reality, she was bleeding me dry behind Derek's back. She needed me to fix it. Not because she cared, but because she was terrified of the truth coming out. For a moment, I just stared at her. Then I smiled. Me, sounds like a you problem. And then I shut the door in her face. For the first time in my life, I felt free. No more late-night calls for money. No more guilt-tripping texts. No more being treated like a walking bank account. After I shut the door in Anna's face, she stood there for a few seconds, stunned, before storming off. I heard her car peel out of my driveway, her frustration almost palpable. And then? Silence. No more calls. No more texts. Just peace. The family tries to reel me back in. Of course, it didn't last forever. 3 days later, my mother showed up at my apartment unannounced. I opened the door to find her standing there, arms crossed, lips pressed into a tight line. "We need to talk," she said. I sighed but let her in. She didn't waste time. "You embarrassed your sister." I let out a dry laugh. She embarrassed herself. Mom shook her head. "She's pregnant, Kate. She doesn't need this kind of stress right now." I stared at her, waiting for the words that never came. Not "I'm sorry we left you out." Not "I understand why you're upset." Not "Anna was wrong." Just excuses. I crossed my arms. "Did she tell you she lied to Derek? That she told him she paid for everything?" Mom flinched. So she did know. "That's between her and her husband," she said stiffly. "Exactly," I said. "Not my problem." She sighed, rubbing her temples like I was the one giving her a headache. "Look, honey, you made your point. But family is family. We need to move past this." I shook my head. "No. You need me to move past this so I can keep paying for Anna's life." "But I'm done." Mom's eyes narrowed. "So that's it? You're cutting us off? Over a misunderstanding?" I let out a bitter laugh. "Mom," I said slowly, "if it were just a misunderstanding, Anna would have apologized. Instead, she showed up at my house demanding money to cover her lies." Silence. For the first time, my mother had nothing to say. She opened and closed her mouth like she wanted to argue, but she couldn't. Because she knew I was right. Finally, she exhaled sharply, grabbed her purse, and stood up. "Fine," she muttered. "Do whatever you want. But don't expect us to come crawling back when you regret this." I raised an eyebrow. "Us?" She hesitated. Then, without another word, she walked out the door. And I didn't follow. The breaking point for Anna. A week later, I got a text from Derek. "Derek, hey, can we talk?" I frowned. We had never been close. "Me? What's up?" "Derek, can we meet? In person?" Something in my gut told me this wasn't just a casual conversation. I agreed, and we met at a small coffee shop. He looked tired, like a man who hadn't been sleeping well. The moment we sat down, he got straight to the point. "Anna told me everything," he said. I raised an eyebrow. "Everything?" His jaw clenched. "That she didn't pay for the gender reveal. That she's been borrowing money from you for years. That he exhaled sharply, rubbing his hands over his face. "That she lied." I stayed quiet. "She said you canceled the final payment," he continued. "That the venue almost called the cops on her." I tilted my head. "Is that what she told you? That I canceled it after the party?" He hesitated. I leaned forward. "Because, Derek, I never paid the final amount. She was supposed to cover it. And she never did." His face darkened. "She told me she paid for everything," he muttered, shaking his head. "That she had saved up for months." I let out a soft chuckle. "And you believe that?" Derek didn't answer. Then, he let out a long breath. "I don't know what to do," he admitted. I shrugged. "That's between you and your wife." Silence. Then he nodded. Thanks for meeting me. As he stood up to leave, I saw defeat in his posture. Maybe Anna thought she could lie her way out of this one too. But something told me Derek wasn't going to forget this. Moving on, without them. 2 months passed. I didn't reach out to my family. They didn't reach out to me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't exhausted from constantly bending over backward for people who never appreciated me. I started saving money for myself, not for someone else's wedding, baby shower, or vacation. And you know what? It felt amazing. Then, one night, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. Hello? There was a pause. Then, it's me. I recognized the voice instantly. Anna. She sounded small, defeated. I waited. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, she finally said. For everything. I didn't respond. She let out a shaky breath. Derek left. I blinked. What? He moved out, she whispered. He said he couldn't trust me anymore. I exhaled slowly. I wasn't happy about this. I wasn't celebrating her downfall. But I also wasn't surprised. I don't know what to do, she admitted. Mom and Dad, they won't help me. They said I need to figure this out on my own. I almost laughed at the irony. For years, I had been bailing her out. Now, suddenly, when she needed them, our parents had decided to cut her off. Karma. I don't know what to tell you, Anna, I finally said. She sniffled. Please, Kate. I ended the call. And I never looked back. Anna never called again. After that last conversation, I expected more, maybe a desperate text, a voicemail filled with tears, one final attempt to pull me back in. But there was nothing. And that silence? It was the best gift my family had ever given me. Letting go. For a long time, I had believed that family was forever. That no matter how much they took from me, time, money, energy, self-respect, I had to endure it. Because that's what good family members do. But sitting in my apartment, staring at the quiet, peaceful space around me, I realized something. I didn't lose my family. I freed myself from them. And I wasn't going back. The final attempt. 3 months after I cut them off, I ran into my mother at a grocery store. I turned the corner, reaching for a box of tea when I heard her voice. Kate? I stiffened. Slowly, I turned to face her. She looked different, thinner, more tired. There were deep lines on her face that hadn't been there before. For the first time, she wasn't angry with me. She looked sad. She glanced at the shopping cart in front of me, filled with groceries, a small luxury candle, a few things I had picked up for myself. You look good, she said, as if the words tasted strange in her mouth. I just nodded. She hesitated. Then, would you like to get coffee? I should have said no. But something in me was curious. So I agreed. Closure at a coffee shop. We sat across from each other in a small cafe, the hum of conversations filling the silence between us. She stirred her coffee, not drinking it. Then, she sighed. I miss you. I stayed quiet. She glanced up. Do you miss us? I took a slow sip of my drink before answering. I miss the idea of family, I admitted. But I don't miss being used. She flinched, but she didn't argue. She just exhaled, long and slow. Anna, she's struggling, she said carefully. I gave a small shrug. That's not my problem. A pause. Then, almost hesitant, maybe it could be. If you wanted it to be. I let out a short laugh. There it is. She blinked. The real reason for this meeting, I said. You miss me, sure. But what you really miss is what I could do for Anna. She opened her mouth, but I shook my head. Let me guess, I continued, my voice calm. She thought Derek would come back. Thought he'd forgive her. But he didn't. And now she's drowning. Mom winced. I leaned back. And now you want me to save her? Silence. She didn't confirm it. She didn't have to. I set my cup down, staring at the woman who had raised me, who had watched as I bent over backward for this family, as I emptied my bank account for Anna, as I was excluded from the very event I had paid for. I had loved my mother my whole life, but I had never felt more like a stranger to her than in that moment. So I gave her my final answer. No. Her face crumpled. Kate. No, I repeated. I'm done. I stood up, tossing a few bills onto the table. Then, before I walked away, I met her eyes one last time. You always told me that family takes care of each other, I said quietly. Maybe it's time you take care of Anna instead. And then I left. And this time, I didn't look back. A life without them. The hardest part about cutting off toxic family isn't the silence. It's the guilt. For weeks after that coffee shop meeting, I would catch myself reaching for my phone, wondering if I had made a mistake. But then I would remember. I would remember the way my mother had dismissed me. I would remember the way Anna had laughed in my face. I would remember how my entire family had celebrated without me. And I would put my phone down. Because I didn't owe them anything. I owed myself peace. The unexpected message. One day, months later, I got a message. Not from my mother. Not from Anna. From Derek. Derek, hey. I just wanted to say thank you. I stared at my screen. Me, for what? Derek, for opening my eyes. A pause. Then, Derek, I should have seen it sooner. The way she was using you. The way she was using me. But I didn't. And I'm sorry for that. I exhaled slowly. For the first time, someone from that mess of a family had actually seen me. I smiled. Me, you don't owe me an apology. But thanks for saying it anyway. A moment later. Derek, take care of yourself. And that was that. The final realization. I don't think about Anna much anymore. I don't know if she ever got her life together. I don't know if she ever stopped expecting other people to fix her mistakes. But the truth is, I don't care. Because for the first time, I am choosing myself. I am choosing a life where I am not the family ATM. I am choosing a life where I am not a backup plan. I am choosing me. And I don't regret it. Not even a little.